just did. So I pulled a chart. Today is fire bending. And the chart says animal consciousness, who's connected, sun. So we can look at sun, the sun. When I get sun on the chart, if we have a sun. Anybody here have a sun? I have a sun. We have a sun.
Do you have a son?
Ali's twin. And
I got animal on my one of my charts this morning too, and I
Yeah.
don't know if I've ever gotten animal for this.
right. And so animals like inner child and our primitive instincts of like, you know, the old way of looking at like fight or flight, and the new way it's like our brilliance, you know, our primitive brilliance abilities is to be like know what to do, you know how to be stabilized. And this stabilization is you shifting, you know. So it says what's connected, passion. So like it could be like following our passion. Also passion feels very fiery. The energy that's expanding is living guide, becoming a living guide, our own living guide, ultimately. What is clearing is the lung and the heart. So for me, when I think of lungs, I think of grief. I think of heart and like not following my passion or feeling stifled from my passion. You know, having to go with the status quo, like the square, like, well, this is the way it is. And you're like, what? I'm an eternal soul and this isn't working for me. Why is beliefs are being cleared? The planet is moon. Essential oils arbor vitae, which is a tree of life, which is very like rooty. The animal is cow. So if we're looking at like animal consciousness and cow, I think of fertility. When I think of the cow, I think of currency. Anything come to you guys when you think of cow?
Just the way that the Indians hold
Which
the
is
cow, that they're just their sacred animal. You know, it's that placid sort of zen, you know, just calm.
Yeah.
I had a past life in Morocco where I had a cow that was like my companion and best friend, and it was like more important to me than anything else.
Wow, you could see
And
that.
it reminds me of my cat now.
I was just gonna say, I feel like it's your cat.
Maybe
Wow.
it was the same thing.
So, okay, the other is temple is source. Like we get our source energy from temple. Vehicle is shed. Sometimes it can mean we're shedding a vehicle when we get shed on the charts, as well as it could be that your shed at home has some specific meaning for you. Since we're doing fire element today, it's all about transfiguration. So there could be some things to shed around vehicles. That can mean like cleaning your car. That can mean like cleaning your shed, getting rid of some stuff. We'll definitely tap into that. The element is ether. We know that with all the elements that we're studying on the bending, ultimately it's all ether. It's all in the plane of this huge plane of existence, which is all ether. And it's just where those light particles slowing down and spinning into a different elemental. And so we're noticing like, wow, if it starts to speed up from, you know, earth to the water to air is getting pretty fast in vibration, we're lifting in our elemental scale. The superpower that's coming online is being able to be a generator, or acknowledging that we're generators, especially when we tap into the animal consciousness and to the ability of working with fire and ether as well. It's asking us to cleanse our house. So it's interesting I brought that up. So the cleanse is cleanse house. Nature's a rainbow, and the solution, it says to address the elements. So that's what we're here today, is to talk about elements. And, you know, our sun. So our sun is our inner child at the age that they are. Typically is for me, when I'm looking at anything with consciousness, is like, okay, what age, if it's present, what age is the sun? And where was I when I was 13? You know, what was I going through with school? And then, you know, you can go deeper on that as far as any other conception points, but like always realizing all is self. And we're also here to talk about transfiguration and fire bending and our ability to rise from the ashes as a phoenix and like shake the dust off and be like, no, I'm here to do it differently, you know, and that's our ability when we acknowledge that things were so solid in form, and we thought there's no way this is going to change. It's linear thinking. This is the way it is. Well, in this school of quantum reality check, that we see that everything's transfigurable, everything is possible. And there's not even, when we're looking at, matter, and let's say matter was like 3 aspects of matter. You've got gross matter, antimatter, and dark matter. Really, it's all the same light particle. It's just spinning at different frequencies. So the gross matter is like, hey, I'm here. But then all of a sudden I get really good at transfiguration because I do this master lemon cleanse and I work with all the things we're going to talk about today. And all of a sudden I'm like, and now I'm not here. And I literally, disappear. And you guys are like, where'd she go? And I'm like, I'm here. So we can come in and out of phase from gross matter to antimatter, which is the shape shift, vibrational movement of light, to dark matter, to where I just literally teleport somewhere else and I'm not here at all. I'm not just sitting here and like, you're not seeing me, but my subtle form is totally here. I really have shifted out. So we're working on really kind of unpacking that and allowing ourselves to experience different elements and work with them so that we go, oh, wait, this is all possible. So with firebending, I was guided to share several things on some practical things that we can do to assist our firebending skills. Like Teresa, you said, why is there a lemon cleanse here? How's that going to help us firebend? And it's very important because this physical vehicle, this avatar vehicle, if I am wanting to have like a massive shift, let's say I am working on teleporting, or I want to change something internally or externally. If I am lighter, I've really allowed myself to see myself not so much as, well, this is the heart, this is the lungs, and that's all there is. Well, what if I just started to identify this as all stacked up light particles, and I'm just, literally a cascade of a vibrational orchestra of this light vibrating at different hertz? Then sometimes I had to, in my past of this lifetime, had to actually do cleanses to get to that point so that I can allow myself to shapeshift more easier. And when doing a cleanse, all of these mental, fixated, locked in, hardwired point of views just go away, especially the one around like, I'm going to die if I don't eat. That becomes like really, you shapeshift out of that belief system around the 4th day of the one cleanse that I'm going to talk about. And I've talked about it before, but I thought since it was yellow, and yellow kind of goes with our solar plexus, where the fire, our digestive system is, when we are working with this lemon cleanse, it's called the master cleanse. And it's super yummy. Has anybody here had the master cleanse? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So all you're going to be doing with the master cleanse, if you decide to do it, I used to have a retreat center in Clearwater Beach, a big house on the beach called the Light Center. And this is all that I did with people, were 10-day cleanses. And you do to every cup of water, a half a lemon, you squeeze it, use something like this, squeeze it. I actually brought this today so we can make some when we're done, and I'll have some. And you squeeze the half a lemon to every cup of water, and then 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, which is, again, just for the half a cup. And then a pinch of cayenne pepper. It's actually an 1/8 of a teaspoon. It's the exact recipe. And I typically suggest people don't make just 1 cup at a time. I say make a big gallon jug so you can carry it around with you on your day and just like really bliss out. I do suggest that if you are doing a cleanse like this, it's a 10-day cleanse of just drinking the lemonade, that you do it on a week or, week, 10 days that you don't have a lot going on, like when the kids are maybe at a camp or something. Because if you have a lot of, or if you're in a job, maybe your 2-week vacation, do it. Because if you're having a lot to do that's really heady, a lot of things are breaking down and leaving. And so like to try to do a cleanser in that time can be a little bit too much. I've seen people do it, but I don't recommend it. And so you're carrying this around, even like, let's say you're just going to the beach and you're, going in nature time into the park. You can at least carry your jug. Even if you're going around your house, you can carry your jug and you're not sitting in your kitchen making the lemonade all the time. And then the other part of the cleanse is Smooth Move tea or Get Regular tea. There's 2 companies. And what's in here of the main ingredient is senna leaf. There's 1,000 milligrams of senna leaf. And that just makes you release all the things that you're pushing over the capillary beds, all the detoxing that's happening of all the organs. The whole body gets detoxed and cleansed. It pushes it to your elimination channels. So you do that morning and night, right before you go to bed, and then right when you get up. Around 3 or so, you probably will have to go eliminate. So just to be prepared that you're, going to be pooping a lot. And that also gets the fire going. It gets you starting to move and groove out of these denser point of views, these denser configurations that literally create the gross matter, comfort, stability in your life. It doesn't mean you're not going to be stable or comfortable. It just means it's going to start to move it and move the energy so that you can actually get up into the higher probabilities, into the higher part of your channel, and have more ability with what we're talking about today, which is the transfiguration, solar plexus. So there's that. So we will try that. I just remembered, though, I didn't bring the maple syrup. I have honey here, so we'll use that. But the reason you want to do maple syrup, I say grade B, it's the darkest, the richest, is because that's like the food you're going to have. Like your body actually eats that maple syrup during the day, so you feel fed. And you can do like a orange juice during the day if you just feel like I need something, or like a peppermint tea, just to give yourself some sort of extra bonus. Otherwise, if you've got like mint growing in your garden, I find myself smelling a lot of, herbs outside and getting enriched and feeling like, oh my God, this is so amazing. Just smelling stuff is amazing. Any questions about the master cleanse? No? Okay. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was additional fire kind of ceremony things. We've got like sage here. So anything that's going to give off smoke or get you in touch with your fire every day, that's also going to give you the ability, to know that, especially like we looked at that candle and we transfigured it, we upgraded it, we talked about a few things. And so that intentional, deep dive as a group and then individually, if I was to light a candle, you're literally giving yourself an opportunity to shift and to transfigure and to burn away and send up to spirit that which you just were thinking about. So it's huge to do lighting a candle every day, lighting sage to clear your field. It's all about the clearing. And when we're holding fire in the house like that with a candle, it's also keeping things lifted. It's keeping it lit up, right? In the darkness, we're lighting up the room. The other thing that the chart really spoke to, which is a high priority a lot when we talk about bending, because we need power. We need to actually have access to this, invisible, seemingly invisible energy. And we can't get there if we're all congested and held up in a lot of dense configurations. So cleaning your house, decluttering, paring down as much as you can. If you don't love it, move it along. If you want to love it, find out what's making you not love it and clear it so that you actually can keep it. Maybe you need to repaint it or something, but it's something I just saw. But you want to make sure that you're actually in a space that, again, gives you connection and ability to move the fire, which is what our fire is our spirit and our breath. The other thing when we're talking about spirit and breath is the breath of fire. So doing our breath of fire, I'll guide us in our meditation today to do some breath of fire. And because of what we're doing when we're squeezing our belly in and out and pumping it, that literal is pumping is pushing in on your digestive system. So it's squeezing everything that needs to be released and moved. And when we add it into the ascended breathing, when we squeeze after we do maybe like 20 seconds of breath of fire, and then you inhale and squeeze your root and your belly button in and your rib cage in, you're really squeezing all of those lower doorways and those lower energy center endocrine glands of the kidneys, your uterus, and then up into your adrenals when you pull your rib cage in. And it's so important to squeeze those because most of this world that has been, most people have been indoctrinated into, even speaking to like schools and stuff like that, is moving a being or the reality or the collective from fear, manipulation, and control. And you know, that can somewhat like keep things organized. And it's like some people are like, well, we need that so that everything's, you know, not mayhem and chaos, which is true to a level. You know, there's a level of stability in this gross matter realm that we enjoy. And I will speak to that from experience that, you know, when I wrote the second book, the Quantum Interstellar book that we're going over tomorrow, like things came undone. And because I was really coming out of phase and bringing even gross matter, my house out of phase and turning it into a light ship. And that felt a little disorienting, you know, like, well, wait a minute, do I really want to do this? Like, what? I guess, maybe we just like just thinking about this as just this solid linear experience as a hard, you know, speaker. So that's something that I had gone through mentally, like thinking like, what am I doing? And then I was, you know, reassured, no, keep going, write the book. It's all going to be good. You'll be able to leave your house soon. It's, you know, all going to come back into organization. So as I started recording that class for people at a distance yesterday here, Spirit was like, this is after my phone call with you. Spirit was like, okay, you're done. Like, stop. And I was like, oh no, I'm just getting one more chapter in, like filming it. And it just turns off, kind of like it hung up on us on the phone. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, you're on, like, you're really on. You're writing this book again. I'm like, okay. So I leave here. If I get the message, things were turning off here on its own. And I go to the house and I walk in and I know my feet are like blaring energy. Like I know I'm fully into the longitudinal ray. I am on. Kind of how I feel right now. And so I walk into the house and the air's on and Daniel comes running in. Why are you turning the air on? And I'm like, I'm not turning the air on. I had it off. I'm like, oh, well, I am on. It just turned on. And so it turned on the air and it went to 82. And for whatever reason, when I was writing the book, it would always do that. It would turn to 82. So it was kind of like my source code number that I knew if the air was turning on its own and that it was going to 82. And it was like moving around. And then I think I walked away and came back and it turned itself to 77, which is also like, you know, it's seven heaven. And so I was like, okay, we're really on. Hopefully I can turn this off and it's going to stay off. So why I brought all that part up is important, I'm sure, at some level, but so that we can really allow ourselves, I know what I'm talking about, getting out of these fixed positions, working with the fire, doing a cleanse, allowing yourself to unbelieve things, doing fire ceremonies. Do all of you have like access to a fire pit? Yeah, no, yes, no, yes. So if you don't have access to one, you know, we have one here. And so I thought actually when we're done, we can like write, before we do our meditation, write what you want to shift and transfigure on your piece of paper. And when we complete, we'll do a little fire ceremony in the back. But if you can work with fire pit and like be committed to working with your fire pit and really learn from your fire pit, it's a huge activation. So that also, just speaking to that, you know, I've always been guided to go ahead and work with the fire, especially when we go camping. Does everybody know how to start a fire at a camp? Ever done that? No? So you two, definitely assignment to like.
Well, you mean like without a lighter or anything? Or
Well, both.
I mean, I've done it. I did backpacking for a long time, so we did stuff like that. then.
So if you don't have a fire, you can take a glass or a, lighter. You could take a glass and put the fire on concrete and then let the sun shine through the glass and it'll eventually catch on fire. It's one quick fix. There is like Flintstones. I have it in my car, but I've not been able to master that. It's something I'm still working on. Otherwise, just, with a lighter or a match, like, practice doing a small controlled fire,
My
like,
husband grills. Does that work?
well, you could do something on there, right?
Yeah.
You could try something on there,
Because I like when he lights the fire. I do go to it.
right?
So I'm like, oh, we do have a
Yeah.
place for fire.
Yeah. Just getting to experience it and, to become connected to the fire is really huge. But I was saying that, let me get that. Being drawn to like going camping and doing the fire pit is huge and wonderful activation. But it was during COVID that spirit was like, I need you to start getting up consistently and going to the fire every rising. So for like several months, it was 4:44 a.m. And I would literally get woke up and I would go to the clock and it was 4:44. And then it was 5:55 for major changes. And I would sit there at the fire and just like hearing what the collective needed to go ahead and be transfiguring at the fire. And so did months of that. And it's such a beautiful activation to be walking outside barefoot in your yard and like in the dark, finding sticks and just like taking your time and making this fire. So I highly suggest it.
Spam.
Okay. There's something about that. We're transfiguring the spam.
Throw some spam on the fire.
Some spam.
Spam.
So if I want to first like just dial into what are some things that we know we want to transfigure as far as if we understand that earth is really dealing with the physical form in our body, water is dealing with our emotions, we're moving into the fire, into like the mental plane. What are some things like mentally that are coming to you? And as we say them, if you could write them on your piece of paper, so that's what we're going to be transfiguring.
So is that like something that you specifically want to like transform?
Transform, yeah. So, and also thinking of like when we're burning this up, usually when we do like an upgrade, or we find what's right about something. Sometimes we can, even though we're on a topic, we may not like totally release the topic. It's just we're maybe having a new perspective of the topic, something else we can look at. So coming into more wholeness points of view around things.
For me, I mean, I'm about to go on this trip, and I feel like it's just that trip and I'm going to Central America, and that's like, I'm sure, a huge activation coming up.
What comes up for it when you're thinking about it?
Well, just I think, it's just something brand new. I mean, I'm excited. I feel like we'll come back and
Be transformed.
we'll be transformed. And then I want to start my first trust like the day after I get back. So that's a new beginning and like a new level. Also with this little heart thing going on, whatever it is.
So can you ask what it is?
Well, we asked them.
What is it now?
Well, what I was thinking was just like my intention is for the next week is to like just more like heart opening and more love and heart expansion.
So heart expansion. So that could be what you're feeling, is that lift that's about to happen.
My heart was
Mhm. Anybody else want to share what you're going to be transforming?
I put to stop holding back, stepping into action, procrastination, default.
Mm. And do you have any knowing right now before we go into meditation about what is like the actual thing that's holding it back?
The ego wanted to feel comfort.
Mm. Got it. Okay. And I'm glad you brought up ego. So it's a lot of times the solar plexus is that gateway for ego, for personality, to kind of hold on, for power struggles, right? This is where this is all kind of happening. And so as we're transforming ourselves or rising up our central channel, and we're burning through the ego, the control, the manipulation, we get to actually, as that burns up and we let go, when we surrender into the heart to air, we're starting to open up to all the new possibilities and starting to open up to being more aligned with our soul's point of view, which is like eternal love and compassion and forgiveness, and going, God, why was I taking that so seriously? You know, I was just connecting in again to like near-death experience, commonalities between all of the different people that I've heard, and myself having near-death experience. And when you look back at this life, this little short life, it's like you're here to like have fun and be loving and, you know, do the right thing, be kind. And so you don't want to, you realize how silly you were being when you maybe had a lot of fears. I grew up with a lot of fears, like totally like neurosis. And you realize how silly you're being when you're holding such a strong point of view and grudges and all of that. You're like, oh, so everything that we come into with this soul and a higher point of view.
like that. We're here to have fun and be loving. Period.
I'm in the process of transforming to the happiness, joy, and love, and to fulfill my soul's purpose.
Absolutely.
I'm transforming.
Yeah. And so in the transformation, and we'll keep going in a minute, but what's really coming is why the cleansing and why the paper burning. And especially even things, that papers that you know, that you're like, why do you even have them? You know, if a paper is a binding and whatever was written on it is holding an energy, a literal blueprint in place in the hologram, why would you keep it there? You know, like anything. So I've burned journals that have totally transfigured the next day, like, whoa, it feels amazing in here. Oh my God, I can't believe all of that was being held in that, you know, piece of paper. You know, statements, just unnecessary holding on to papers.
My office, I have so much to go through to get rid of them. I keep on the last few weeks, I've been saying I need to get in there. I have my parents' papers and my papers, and I'm thinking I just need to get rid of all that. But instead of burning because there's too much, I just call the shred truck to come and
There's a free shredding event coming up
where
in Palm Harbor.
They just had it.
They have it already.
I pulled up to the school on Tuesday and it was packed, the parking lot. I'm like, what's going on?
no, I had to get
And they
rid of-
were driving people in this shredder, the whole class of gardening. And I'm like, this is wild. And I knew we were doing this class today because I felt very connected. Now you're bringing it up. Yeah.
and I had a contact with them a few years back, actually after my husband passed away, because I had to clean a lot of stuff out. And I had bags of papers, his check, you know, he kept every checkbook you know, and then plus I had my real estate stuff that I was able to go in. So they came to my front door and I gave them my bag and they put it in there and shut it up all night.
Good.
I guess that felt good.
They did.
And one thing to
No, I never
remind,
did again.
as you get, for me, more practice in this, I've found that when I do get a call to pull papers and like go burn them, I just also say, you know, all my essence come out, everybody else's essence out of these. This is going to be smooth and easy. And I'm just, you know, letting these go so they're not holding anything in place that isn't love, basically. Because if everything's now, you don't really need too much written down, you know. If everything's now and you really trust in the now, and you trust in love, where we used to, the ego, the personality needed to bind things. Well, you promise you're going to do this, you better sign on this. So
I had to do a huge clearing when I moved to Florida around recycling because in California, especially in Berkeley, my hometown, like you recycle every single bit of thing that you can, and this in my mom's house especially and everything. And here there was like, you know, recycling, and it took a lot to like get my mind to be like, it's okay to put this in the garbage. It's okay to throw a piece of paper out. And so now I'm just doing it, and I've worked through it, but that was like a big.
you could still do it.
They still do. They still do recycling.
And it's all light particles.
It's not-
I mean, I know they do it, but yeah, just like the programming.
Yeah. Did you want to share, Heather?
I wrote down more complete understanding, flexible point of views, and completely new knowledge.
Cool. I love that. And that's what's so cool is that when you do let go of stuff, you reorganize, you burn papers, etc. You open up space for the new to come in, the new you, the you that you always are, but like you get to come back in. And so it's just beautiful. This makes me think of one of the teachers I had, Chonku Sho, at a Tibetan Buddhist center. And when she first met me, she took this lemon and she bopped me on the forehead. I was like, what was that about? And they like told me, oh no, it's a blessing. Okay. And it kind of went along with that. Like, are you ready for some new? And I was like, okay. You know, I was like 20. Okay. So things I have to see if there's anything I was tapping into. Yeah, I was telling actually Heather yesterday, like I'm 49, I think.
You're 48.
Or
I'm
48.
49.
Okay, you're 49. Yeah, good. Or the body is so called. And I guess it's been 2 years now. I went into menopause and I gained, 30 pounds, not 2 years ago, but I guess in this last year. And so my body just felt different. I felt different in my body. Like it wasn't even like, what is happening? I'm not in my body the same way. And so I even lost all my energy, like to do that class, I want to do it. And I'm finally coming back online. But the energy level just went down as well. So like these changes of our body, when you work with fire element, you can really go ahead and get it kick-started. So that could just mean like, walk around the house and breath of fire, and like, and your family's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, I'm just breathing. So you'll get your energy pumped up, you can work with the body to go ahead and get it prepped and ready. You can do even just like jumping and like, kind of vibrating your body is a good thing to help get back in.
What about singing?
Yeah, singing. That's great. I love that. You gonna sing for us?
No, but when me and my babe go to church, we sing with the church
Yes.
choir, and
Yeah.
we have a blast. Like we're at a concert.
It's so
We're
cool.
just, like,
I know, I don't,
laughing and dancing.
I love it. I don't go to churches unless I'm going to clear them, typically. And I got called to go go to the church at the bottom of our street called Calvary in Crystal Beach. And I went and it was so fun. I walked in and they had like, it was just singing. And so we were like just singing the whole time. And I'm up there like just belting it out. And it was like a full course band. I went like 3 weeks in a row. I'm like, Daniel Lee, you got to come. And they came and they're like, I took them right to the front row and they're sitting there. And I'm like, all right. Whoa. Somebody can get a paper towels, which is probably all part of this. So I was like, all right, I'm getting up and I'm singing the whole time. And Aaliyah and Dan are like, oh my God. Like, what are you doing? Anyways, yeah, singing. Thank you, Sibel. So yeah, the water moving, right? And whenever there's a water spill, I know we're about to move some massive emotion. So underneath, if we are feeling emotional, doing both, doing a fire can help move a mass amount of emotion. If I be it. So my consciousness, is there something else about that? Yeah, so like I move my right hand, right? Which is my giving hand, and knocked the yellow water. It was yellow. I wanted to get yellow water today. And so anywhere like we've been giving out emotion that's fiery, sometimes anger can come out when we're giving out that kind of fiery emotion. What's some other kind of fiery emotions? Passion, it's on our chart. Envy, jealousy, lust, anger. And so that's like kind of that wobble, like the spill, so if we're looking at that inner child, the animal consciousness type of emotions, those watery emotions, we're crying a lot. We had the cow, so we're mooing, moaning. That feels like a moan. When we notice these types of emotions too, we can go ahead and realize like maybe there's a time for a cleanse, to kind of help me move all of this. If you're feeling frustrated, confused, that was also coming up yesterday. Okay, so I'm going to pull one more card, which is Malachite Eudaimonia. I've never heard this word until yesterday. I pulled this card yesterday, Uranus, and I don't even think I'm pronouncing it right, but I'm going to read it to us because I've never heard of this. Eudaimonia. Eudaimonia. There's the moan. And malachite.
Malachite, just I think of the heart again. That green.
Yeah. Okay, so eudaimonia, intuitive self-enhancing creativity and mindset. Eudaimonia is a philosophy pertaining to each individual self and finally living in your knowing. You can access this knowledge and guide yourself down the path to your bliss by looking inward and healing your past traumas and wounds. You'll be able to allow positive energies to fill these once negative spaces. It speaks right to this. Okay. So let's go ahead and do a guided meditation to kind of go ahead and work with these things that are intentions that we've brought up, as well as any other things that come up when we look. If you want to lay back. Is everyone okay with sage if I light it? Yes? Okay, good. So we're just going to go ahead and start taking some deep breaths. We are going to do a few rounds of breath of fire in a moment, but just first take some deep breaths. whether it's through nose only or adding in the mouth, knowing that when you breathe through the mouth, you're having the ability to move 3 times the amount of air through. And it also is a transfiguration opportunity. So as we deepen the breath down our central channel, down to our root, out our feet, and then back around through the torus. Allow your breath on the next one to initiate a breath of fire. So it's pumping in and out the stomach through the nose. Then inhale, squeeze it up, squeeze root, belly button, ribs. Open your heart. With a second sip of air, hold at the top of the head. And then exhale out your mouth. Breath of fire in and out the nose, pulling your belly button in and out. Then inhale, squeeze it up. Squeeze the ovaries, the kidneys, the adrenals. Take a sip of air in, open your heart. Hold it and slightly look up. Exhale, release. Couple more times, breath of fire. Squeeze it up. Second sip. Hold. Exhale, release. Last one. Inhale, squeeze it up. Inhale, mouth. Hold, smile. Exhale, release. Good. The next breath work, we're going to do 2 more breath works. Inhale twice through your mouth. Exhale through your mouth. Inhale twice through your mouth. Exhale through the mouth. Keep that going. The natural breathe. Good. And last breath work, you're going to inhale and exhale. And imagine you've got a circle in front of you. So you're going to inhale down the bottom of the circle, exhale over the top of the circle. Circle breathing, imagining your beautiful circle in front of you or within you, however it comes out, and you're tracing that circle on the inhale and the exhale. Take your time. And allow yourself just to naturally breathe. If it feels like you still want to do the circle breathing, keep it going, but otherwise just let yourself go. In this guided journey, just imagine that the soul that you are gets to lift to a very special ground. This ground is loaded with beautiful crystals, stones, sand, greenery. Let your soul go ahead and find 3 special crystals or stones. Whether they're the same color or type or different. Imagine the soul that you are gets to pick up these 3 stones. With the 3 stones or crystals, there's a beautiful spring, emerald green spring in front of you. Go ahead and wash, clean, clear the soul that you are if you'd like, but mainly these crystals. It feels like you want to get in with the crystals. As the emerald spring cleans and clears the crystals, they're sparkling and they're ready to go ahead and bring over to a green meadow area. As you glide over to bring these crystals or stones to the meadow, find a place where you can see that you've set up a little fire pit. Go ahead and arrange the crystals in a trine to represent the fire. And as you place these crystals, set a sacred intention that they are going to help you transfigure and transform anything needed today to the highest and best version. As they set themselves up, go ahead and use your fire ability to light the fire. Let your imagination light the fire at the fire pit. With the fire lit, go ahead and send to the fire anything that you know is ready to go. Knowing that it's this sacred fire that has the ability to, even though we think of fire as heat, it's actually cooling as you send forth that which is ready to release. Whether it's aspects, beliefs, debris, false beliefs, perspectives of memories that are no longer serving you, perspectives of the world that no longer serve you or the others. As you do so, you see the beautiful smoke that comes from the fire rising into the ether. And so you enjoy sitting and watching and feeling the lightness that now has occurred. As you step back or sit back or float back, one of your guides is with you. Look to see who this guide, ascended master, animal spirit, who has arrived with you. Go ahead and communicate to your guide to see if there's anything else that needed to be cleared, transfigured that you weren't seeing. Let the guide help you let it go and give you any understanding or clarity about how this release helps you and all others. Let the guide complete with showing you anything of your physical body, physical home, or land that wants to be shared, cleared, assisted. As the guide assist, land, space, your form, go ahead and start to gather the soul that you are through your breath back into your body. As you fill in the body down the central channel into your whole midsection, root, feet, acknowledge the newness, the new spaces that can be filled in the body, within the space of every cell. Breathing into each energy center, at the crown, at the mind's eye, blessing the throat energy center, blessing the heart, blessing the solar plexus, the navel, the root, the knees, and the feet. And give thanks to your guide. Give thanks to the elements, to the crystals that can always be visited at that sacred spot. Let yourself know that you are balanced, you are clear, you are realigned, transfigured. And when it feels right, go ahead and bring your chair up slightly so that we can reset. Any understandings? So even if it's just one word that you want to share, adaptability, that's what I'm going to share by pulling a card. Unless there's some kind of bigger detail you want to share, absolutely. Celestial, do you want to share anything? Either one word or
Sun,
sun. Thanks.
but like the sun.
Oh, the sun, yeah. Teresa, one word
One word.
or anything about what you just did?
Let go.
Let
Oh,
go.
That's 2 words.
That's okay. The sun, let go, adaptability.
I don't have one word. I have
All right, I had a feeling you had something.
Yeah, you read my thought, and I was like, one word. But it was very easy to go and vivid, and maybe it was because we did the breathing first, but
Yes.
I could really like see everything, and I had the crystals. It was the clear quartz, amethyst, and malachite, and I saw the sand, and I saw the spring. And I went in the spring. I was naked. And my hair was like, you know, when you're like bursting out with your wet hair. And then I walked over to the fire, and it was weird because for a while it was like I couldn't see if it was a fire in the ground or in a like an iron pit type of thing. It just kept switching. I was like, am I picking up on other people's fire pits? And then it switched to it was like a stone one where there's like the stones, and to start it, I just did it with my hands.
Oh, good. I was hoping somebody would do that.
Yeah. And then my guardian angel, who is a green Syrian being named James. He was there. I've met him and worked with him for a few years now, or knew about him. And so he was there. And so we could like be together. And he said that it was just about letting go of anything that would hinder like being in my highest potential.
Yeah.
Or best.
So you had the same word I did, huh?
So yeah, a
Cool.
little bit of detail, but
I love it. Thank you.
yeah.
Because the sun kind of lets go, transfigures too, for me.
Do you want the detail or you just want a word?
Whatever you got, because the more clarity, the more the clouds move and the sun comes out.
Okay.
Literally.
So more detail then. Okay. So similar to Sibel's, the crystal field wasn't as clear to me. It was just like sparkly, you know, shiny. Ooh, shiny. But the crystals that I had were opal, a fire opal, and lapis, lazuli, and labradorite. So then the fire and the stream, I like, you're like, wash the crystals, and I like jumped in. You're like, if you want to get in with the crystals, I'm like, good, I already was. But I was just kind of like lounging, and like the water was just like flowing over, and I was like, had the crystals like lined up on me, and like the water was just like,
fun.
Yeah. So then the fire pit was stones with native symbols, painted, looked like painted on, not etched, but painted. And the guide that was with me is new to me. but I've seen him before, and he's Native American, but he's like, call me Eddie. So he's Eddie.
I love that.
And I didn't get a ton of detail about what all was getting burned,
Mhm.
because I felt like there was a lot, and the more that I was trying to
Right.
hang on to the details of it, I just wasn't.
Ooh.
Yeah, like I wasn't. You were going faster than what I was able to like.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, just fine, like just everything, just
Yeah.
keep piling on. And what else? Oh, then I think you got to a point where you're like, toward the end, I can't remember what your prompt was. But Eddie and I both just became sparks. Like it was just like, oh, it's totally transfigured. And of course I started the fire just with like
Yeah.
at that point too. But, like we
Yes.
both were just like sparks.
Yeah.
And yeah. But the word, when you were saying like what was the word, it was expansive.
Cool.
Yeah.
So adaptability, sun, letting go. What's your word? Release and expansive. Yeah. Being able to be adaptive with the sun, with the fire, letting go. What was it? Release.
I felt 2 times I had like when you're releasing and
Yeah.
your body jolts.
Yeah.
I did that twice.
Good. I felt you.
Mm-hmm.
I heard you, I think. Yeah.
I was just deep. There were a couple times where you started talking and I was like, oh, where was I?
I felt your dream, part of your dream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good. So you see the power. I'm glad you brought that up, Sybil. Doing your breath work. Even when you're going to sleep, even if you wake up at 3 a.m, start breath of fire. It made me think about, if you have a partner, sorry. I've always had separate rooms, but
or he'll be like, what? Yeah.
Like it would get me more amped up and I'm trying to go back to sleep.
just to get you, I'm telling you, you will go so lucid and so vivid in your dreams if you just add some breath work as you're before you're going to sleep. But it made me think of this one morning, or like 3 a.m, I woke up and Spirit's like, you need to clear the neighborhood. You need to clear down Crystal Beach and down that circle stone area. You need to I need to build etherical pyramids right now and light the fire around there so that communities can start doing community fires again. Because I think it was like during COVID, I had wanted to do a fire down there. And I asked the park ranger, I'm like, can I just do like a fire right here? And he's like, well, it's technically not, allowed. And I'm like, really? It's so strange. Anyway.
Teach you to ask.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah.
Sorry.
I think he did say that. Well, you could just kind of oops it. But that was around that time I had that dream, like, you need to go ahead and do these like etherical community fires, And so I'm like building etherical pyramids and all these like courtyard areas of neighborhoods and doing like little bonfires etherically. And the next day they were like everywhere, kind of like your dream. There was people who were doing bonfires everywhere. So what we do, in the meditation, in the dream, it really always is real. We know that, but I just had that remembrance.
I did have that thought where I was like, when you were like bringing up the house, and I'm like, please do not light fires at home. Like that, like it did go through my mind. Like this is contained here.
Yeah, contained.
Like, I do not want fires, like real fires at my house.
Delete.
So I'm setting these, right?
Yes. Very clear, contained, stone circle.
Yeah.
And I suggest you, really nourish your fire pit. Like it's such a sacred place. If you don't have one, make one, even if it's like a small one.
No, it's funny because I actually want a big fire pit because I like to cook.
Yes.
And I saw this Instagram account and that she has this big fire pit. She cooks in it.
Yeah.
And everything. So when you said, I was like, well, yeah, like I want to really get into that kind of cooking.
You can even put crystals around it, and then you put like an iron, just grate from a grill that somebody's not using. Right on top of there, you can cook like wrap things in banana leaves. I mean, it's so fun. You can like lather, lobster with mayonnaise, wrap it in a banana leaf on the fire. It's so good. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and complete in here, and I want to go and make us lemonade together. And then we could take our lemonade and take our piece of paper to the fire pit. You guys are good with that.